That's where they picking. League House 777. One of the biggest lies is about Hera, Ishtar, Zedekiel Jr. as sheriff, and Kali, and Maleficent, or Ares, Becra, Cosmo, the Saturn. One of the lies that they most likely would. This is about women's rights, by the way. The feminist movement will try to. It sounds like this is for the ladies to have strong and potent maidens. But one has to ask, where are they picking witches? Where are they picking Satan, who is Ares, Becra, Cosbel, the Sapphic, or you might, or wherever has Maleficent under a different name. She's always been, even in the old movies. Does anybody know what Maleficent means? Wicked intentions, wickedness. So to think that she's cool because a certain popular actress might play she or try to get one to thinking something different. They're worshiping wickedness. And anybody who's godly, despite every belief system, wickedness is never something good, and it's never something godly. Another lie is Hera. Just because they're playing on the mistreatment that happened to the Fays by males, Malas, by leaving out any good type of Fays. There was already strong Fays. What about, they're not letting them worship the Shekinah. And they're not picking Aphrodite. They're not picking Eriseshat, Gabriel, Chased. They're picking people to, there's Andromeda, who was with Perseus, Narashina, Krishna, Raphael, Hercules. There's Ninsun, Alcmene, but instead, there's many strong maidens throughout history, but the ones they want people to look up to is Amazons, those who are devoted to Ares, despite what some good-looking actress, either Linda Carter or Landa Garcia is her true name, or Gil Gadot. But the cannibals, Amazons were cannibals. Their names being Amazon meant no meow, which means no Mayas, which means they had eaten flesh. To worship the Amazons is to tell Mayas to be cannibals, and one of their signs was they cut off their right breast. This is very much a sign of cancer patients.
To sicken women.
So they're trying to turn people, women, or Fays and the ladies into worshippers of cannibals.
Of Ares.
Now, Kali is another one, but Kali is a demon. Kali is no god. She drinks blood and she's the head of the Thuggies.
And cannibals aren't beautiful.
Mother, Lucy Fuja and Leto Kotilik. I'm telling you this, but you can check on Google yourself. This black, because Kali means she who is black. Now, people, don't let this fear of these people make you not see what's good or righteous. Now, is this a strong maiden? Someone who his hair is not combed, drinks blood, disguised as beads of pearls, but skulls around her neck, a lust of drinking blood.
That's the Devi.
And this is Kali.
Also known as the Devi.
This is nothing holy. This is no god. Even in India, she's not considered a god. But here in the United States,
she's a demon.
They will tell people to worship this one. To worship Ishtar, Zedekiel, Juno, Hera. And when you try to find out now let's just talk about this one. She rules the Thuggies, so hold on. This is the venomous definition of Kali. The quintessential embodiment of the Shakti. She emerges as an independent around 1000 BC and evolves as a controversial character. She is scary, bloodthirsty embodiment of annihilation. And then they're going to try to say the ultimate guardian against evil, What reason would someone even think that this is a god? This is a dishonor towards people in India. Because now let's look at the true definition of this. You see the tongue out? You see anybody does this?
The queen
They're
of the
trying to turn
damn.
people into demons, and especially good-looking, big-ass, ample breasts, luscious, good-looking ladies. This is nothing feminine. If anything, this is now
To make her
here's the
anorexic.
true definition of what those people in India see Cali has. Not some feminist group from the United States using demons to secretly get people to follow this.
Against their will.
Kali is a central antagonist of the religion called Hinduism. That's those in India. And a demon, not a god, a demon from Hindu mythology who is described as being a great potency, and in some places the origin of evil itself, is the arch enemy of Kalkin,
Been deceived.
or the enemy of the Savior. A demon.
Who's anorexic.
There's no God that drinks blood, by the way. And there's no God that will have skulls and carcasses. That's demons and devs. You're being deceived. Also, maidens are being deceived.
To become
Worshiping
anorexic.
born demons and devs because out of their ignorance. And Kali is ignorance. That's ignorance kills. Kali means suffer, hurt, startle, confuse. Of Kali Yuga, nemesis of Kalkin. She is evil. This is no man. Look at the titties, the breast, look at the mouth, look at the claw vein fro.
Wants to turn earth into hell.
Kali is a demon. And this is a dishonor towards those people of that belief system. And to even act like Kali is a god. Kali is evil. Allied with evil. This is evil. Her husband is Shiva, the annihilator. Ignorance kills. No god is this. Don't let fear and dishonor and try and be racist make one think that a demon is a god. Because they do have gods there too. There's Raha Satila. There's a Gopi Satila. There's Lakshmi. There's Saravati. There's many other good ones. But if one is racist and they're dishonorable towards people's culture is, they'll pick any stuff, just like somebody who claims that they're not racist, and they'll pick the most ugliest brown-skinned person of a community to come out in a movie instead of the beautiful or handsome ones that they could put on a magazine. Instead of picking the ones that look like someone from a plantation or a slave, purposely to pick an ugly one to represent that people. This is what people are doing with other cultures' belief systems. They're just picking a name out of Hindu and picking this demon to make the one that they worship look like they're glorious. But in doing this ignorance, they're getting sabotaged and endangering their whole culture. Yoga is evil. That's Shiva's doing.
Because
Shiva's the annihilator. He's not the savior. People are worshiping Kali and these movies in the United States. Kali and Hera, Ishtar, Zadakil, Juno, and Sheriff, Amazons, cannibals, enemies of women, enemies of land. These are not strong maidens. They're not Athena. They're not Gabriel. They're not Gabor. These are demons and devs. They got another group trying to turn men into dogs, like the movie The Northerner, where actually all the stereotypes that once said about pink-skinned mortals, in that movie The Northerner, they're telling you that pink-skinned mortals are not decent. They're telling you that pink-skinned mortals are dogs and cannibals and eat flesh and will lay with their mothers. It's a remake of Hamlet combined with Django, in case anyone's not aware of that. I don't think pink-skinned mortals are that way. But this destruction and corruption is evil, playing out with people's prides and dislikes towards other races and cultures, and using that to take them out. This is Callie. She's trying to kill the sacred cow of the Gopis.
We're supposed to represent Earth or women.
This is Callie as well. She's a demon. She's a devil. She is no goddess. A demon. Yoga. Shiva is Kali's spouse, also known as Apollo, Loki, Shiva Ra, Tezcatlipoca. Now, whoever's picking these people already did their studies about this.
Anorexic,
They're doing this off of the
suffering.
ignorant, and Kali is ignorance because ignorance kills.
To make me as
This is no
anorexic.
God. She's actually the enemy of the savior, of gods, of all races of men and people. Kali is the head of the Thuggee movement. She's the enemy of knowing, of pleasuring,
Of
laying.
sexing.
She's actually no sensing. You got demons and demon worshippers walking amongst you, but you can't see past your skins and take this problem out. All phase, all races of men, the cells of this planet will end because of their pride, because they're blind by their dislike. They can't stand unity
Callie's called
as they were
Debbie.
intended to be.
Callie's
So they'll
called
unite in honor, battle against evil as champions, or they'll unite in passing away. They
Callie's
came to annihilate all of you. All races, all genders. No face should be looking up to Kali. She is no goddess. They should have the courtesy and the decency to look this stuff up themselves instead of letting some venomous
false
person
feminist.
turn them into a male.
And Callie means Debbie.
What's getting them to cut their manes? What's getting them put on suits? What's getting them to define themselves by being more male, more masculine? And they're supposed to be feminist. It sounds like a false leader. Because until 2097 AD, feminists were about embracing the feminine qualities. In 2097 AD, from that point on, the new feminists been telling people to be demons. This is just a Kali. Now let's move on to Hera, Juno, Ishtar, Zedekiel, Asherah. Kali is the one over Thuggies, along with her mother. The thugs are evil. There's nothing cool. There's nothing sexy. There's nothing awesome. There's nothing tough about none of that. And she is no god. She's the queen of hell.
Callie means Debbie, and Debbie is a demon. That's one of her other names.
Murderers, robbers, thieves, killers, cutthroats, worshippers of Kali.
Look at the dates when Callie and the
This is
Debbie.
not someone who's beneficial towards women, towards
those
ladies,
lootings.
towards young maidens, towards anyone.
Purgings, the lootings.
Look at the dates when Callie and the Debbie
You've been
came
deceived
and the robberies
by
and
trying
stuff
to be cool
occurred.
or open your arms to other races. If you're going to do that, make sure that you pick the races decent and good parts, not just grabbing the most hideous, venomous, and monstrous
Ugly
and wicked of the bunch.
and ooglike parts.
Hera is also known as Ishtar, not the queen of heaven, but a demon, a Sheriff, as you can see at the bottom of that page. I'll zoom in towards you, and this is on Google for yourselves. You've been deceived. Hera, Ishtar, Juno, Zedekiel is not some queen of heaven. If any stuff, she's the opposite of that. She's evil. She's the one who wasted, a demon. According to some, Ishtar is just an avatar of the demon Asherah. You're being
Also, Callie is the one who killed Ishtar when she went to hell and got resurrected by Enki, Raziel, Brahmata, Prometheus. And one of Callie's name is the Devi, Callie Devi. And around her neck is skeletons or small heads that would be disguised as pearls.
There's Frigga.
Look at the dates of the worshiping of the Thuggies on particular Juneteenth and see who's responsible for that.
The lootings
See
of the
who's
cities.
the rise of robberies, lootings, and such stuff.
Tongue out.
People are financing worshiping Kali, and she's colors is red and Ebon. Look for television networks and people dressed in such stuff. That's where you'll find demons like that. But there's also gods amongst you too, if you are where to look. The demons do not like the phase. They try to get them to lose their ass, their voluptuousness, their ampleness, their sexuality, like beginning to become anorexic, like a bone, like a skeleton, like Kali. Do not fall for it. You're being deceived. Snap out of it. Ishtar. Fertility and battle. Equated by the Greeks with Hera. Now, let's look up what Hera means. And it's going to be very interesting. You try to look this up on Google, it's going to come out most likely. Let's look at the definition of Hera. And this is very interesting because it says here, goddess, female god of unions, as Juno. Worship as queen of heaven. In Greek beliefs, Zeus weds Hera. It says her name means, this is very bizarre, the goddess. This is what Hera means. Well, if that's the case, then that would mean that Aphrodite would be called Hera Aphrodite, the goddess Aphrodite. Or it'd be called Hera the Athena, which is not ever happening because they have their own names. So, if anything, Hera means opposition. She opposes weddings. Do you see? She opposes unions. Her power is pressure.
Read her story.
Her name means opposition. Yep, that is accurate. She's against unions. She broke up unions. People used to pray to her for protection because of her bullying. They used to plead so she wouldn't hurt them. She would not interfere with their union. Calling her daughter Elathea, who was the one of childbirth. All the children of Zeus who was being spawned, she tried to kill babies. She was even dead like her own son. She kicked him out of Olympus and maimed him. She's an abuser of children. She's an abuser of unions. She's no god. She was wedded by Zeus to keep problems from happening to mankind.
Juno is no champion.
She conquered the whole Asia land, the continent itself.
Hera's no champion.
Originally, her name was Ishtar. She tried to kill the body of Aphrodite as Eniana. You can look this all up yourselves. She's no god. She's a demon Asherah, enemy of the Chesed, of the Jedulian plane. That's the heaven. She's opposition, which makes waste.
The enemy of greatness.
Hera is on the side of wickedness. She was one of the 13 who celebrated the coming of Belphegor, the witch's Sabbath, which can't be impossible because Sabbath means holy, and witches would do with the unholy. That's our honor towards the Wicca and witches as well. You gotta look at these little games that they're playing on the ignorant who doesn't read or study. There are strong maidens out there who they could look up to, but they should not be looking towards these demons. Now, what way do we know that this is not the definition of Hera? Because this all comes to Hercules, Krishna, Raphael, Perseus, Gilgamesh. If her name is the queen or the goddess, then what reason would she plague this guy, Hercules? Hercules' name, fame or glory. This is what Kalis means. Kalis in Greek means glory or hold.
His name doesn't mean God is
glory. Of the goddess, Hercules. Let's see. That means that he should be Hercules, Krishna, Raphael, Perseus, Gilgamesh, Narashina. If his name, if this was the definition of this, then that would mean that this name would mean he would look something not masculine. But let's take a look at Krishna.
Or goddess glory. He's a guy. Doesn't look fey to me, or like a goddess.
There's nothing feminine about Krishna, Hercules.
His name means glory through opposition, which explains all his battles. She tried to kill him when he was a baby as well. This is a child murderer. This is no strong maiden. This is no maiden who got broken faith on and just stayed at home. She was spiteful, making deals, betraying,
inventing whoring,
seeing plagues to people.
inventing
She is
sex
nothing that
laborers.
a venomous or any no lady would look to. She's opposition itself. She opposed weddings.
She's the
She'll
one of
put pressure to
whores.
stop and break up unions. Or she'll send her son Aries to beat up a community. Or she'll send her daughter Aries back on Cosmo to Saturn to cause upheaval.
She's one of the 7
This is
wicked
no
ones.
one to worship. She's a bully.
One of the 7 wicked ones.
What way did she become the queen of heaven and she was on Olympus? His name means glory through opposition. Hera means opposition. She's a bully. On the side of wickedness, Hera, Ishtar, Zedekiel, Juno, Asherah is the demon. Asherah, one of the fallen.
She
So
also
ladies, do not be deceived by these demons. She tried to kill this guy his whole living, among other children. Dionysus, Bacchus, Apollo, Loki, Shiva, Ra, Tessa, Kapoka, but she didn't try to kill Artemis.
She burned up
She
the
attacks
maidens to
children,
death.
she attacks couples. She sends her pressure between them to break unions up.
she's also hit prostitutes or whoring, sex laborers, Hera devotees.
This is Juno, Ishtar, Zedekiel, Asherah, Hera. This is Juno, Ishtar, Zedekiel, Asherah, Hera. A demon named Astara, also has Ishtar. Let's just take a look. There's her satanic insignia against childbirth and all this because the spirit of it. Let's take a look and see what she actually looks like. Enemy, annihilator of stars. That is what Ishtar means. And stars is angels, gods. This is the demon Ishtar, Zedekiel, Juno, Hera, Asherah. The prophecy said that she's supposed to rise in the United States
To annihilate the stars or
and set up shop there.
any land with the
What does
stars.
it say here?
You can look that up. Yep.
Great Duke of Hell, in league with Kali and Beelzebub.
Martians.
The alternative spelling of this is Asherah. Look out for this wickedness and do not embrace it. Stand with the lead. Stand with the good. Stand with love. 777.
Dr.
Since
Arrows.
Dr. Eros Trismegistus. And this is Amazon stuff. The usual ritualistic eating of human flesh by another being, a one eating their own kind. The eating of the flesh of an animal by another animal of the same king. This is a definition of cannibalism. Now, Amazons are cannibals. They're not some saviors, and they're devoted to Aries. Despite what the movies tell you, you're being deceived. You follow the Amazons thinking that they're Gil Gadot and just good-looking maidens such as this, then you're being deceived to become cannibals.
Gal Gadot.
Are the Amazons cannibals? Then let's just see this polite, scary way of don't want to get bullied. Because they don't consider outsiders full of people. You know they have 2 legs and 2 arms and a head and organs and they're walking and talking. Because they eat their own carcasses of those who aren't living, of relatives, only after they've been turned into something other, quote unquote,
they don't consider themselves cannibals, but they're eating another being. This is self-delusion or lying. This is them trying to make, oh, this is no big deal. They traditionally and peacefully they do cannibalistic mortuary rituals, although they're leaving out in these statements that they kill those people that they're eating, that they're murdering them, and then they're eating them, and they turn them to food. So if this is okay, what you're saying to, what you would be saying, if you accept that you would accept that you went to a grocery store and somebody stole one of those children who got kidnapped and through some satanic ritual disappeared, and they chopped them up and they put them in a package of hot dogs or sausages, and that's okay because it's peaceful. That's not cannibalism. That is cannibalism, and it is wrong. That's evil, if not wicked.
Followers of Shiva eat people.
And that's what the Amazons practice.
That's what Kali practices too.
And they even kill children, boy children. But one has to ask, what are they picking? Leak House 777. One of the biggest of faith. That's not cannibalism. That's evil, if not wicked. And that's what the Amazons practice. Cannibalism. And they even kill children, boy children. They cut off their breasts. One breast to show that they're not a fae. To be an Amazon is to be against being any stuff fae. Now, what way would offend them is would even be someone against fae, unless that they've been deceived and weasel into the deconstruct and tear apart too by a male. Another one of these cannibals is Kronos, Kingu, Saturnalia.
The one who was trapped on Italy.
The demon Andromeda.
With the scythe, the reaper.
Whose name means the
With
scythe.
the scythe.
They bow towards Ares, Azoides, pain. They didn't stay on some island, a Themyscira. They actually went very distant places all over the planet to conquer. Scythia, Thrace, Asia Minor, which is Arabia, Persia, Egypt, the Aegean Islands, Arabia, Egypt. See, so don't believe lies. She didn't take out Ares. She actually worshipped Ares. The Amazons actually worship Ares, Bequa, Cosbel, the Saturn. Her Greek name is Artemis. And Ares, Bequa, Cosbel. And the Amazons actually were loyal and devoted to Ares. So whosoever is trying to get maidens to follow Amazons, Ishtar, Zedekio, Juno, Eshereth, Hera, or even the Kali, they're trying to actually kill and off phase. The women and the ladies, no true feminists will follow any Amazon, Kali, or Ishtar, Zedekio, Juno, Eshereth. Because there's plenty of strong maidens, as I said. There's Andromeda. There's Rahasatilla. There's Aphrodite Lakshmi. There's Iris that Gabriel just said. There's a Shekinah. So there is, if they wanted to, they could point maidens into strong, potent, powerful, good maidens. There's also Noga Hedonah, Lilith, who is no witch. Do not be deceived. Do not fall prey towards these lies. Stay with the truth and stay with the lead. 777 it up.
Now, if you guys are, or you maidens, not guys, but if you're actually about femininity, you would not even be following and this is on Google, you would not be following Wonder Woman, because that was actually made by a man who had 2 wives, a polygamist at the same moment. and Wonder Woman was a secretary to the masculine justice society. But hey, don't take my speakings towards it. Look at it yourself. So, just like that T'Challa movie Wakanda, because they both throw the X over their faces or their chests of all symbols, and there's no Nubian race or Amazons that actually would make that. To whoever's following the Wonder Woman is more like following an anti-feminist. It's to enslave women. You see the shackles on her wrist, right? Did you catch that? To get past the looks and the suffering and be aware of the tricks. Wonder Woman is to lead women and fays and the ladies into bondage. She got shackles on her wrist. She's on an island with all women. That would be a detention facility, like a prison towards women. Wonder Woman was a secretary since 2041 AD. All-Star Comics. And she said it's quite an honor towards her being a secretary, a servant to men. Now, no true feminists will even follow Wonder Woman, so I think they're trying to deceive those who are ignorant. And as you can tell by my voice, I'm not a woman. So be aware that Wonder Woman was also created by a man who was a polygamist. She was a secretary because of her gender. And they never show her intelligence, they only show her being brutal. And if she loses her jewelry, she goes into a rage, into a uncontrollable anger. So she shouldn't be the example of a strong fae. It would have been Power Girl, actually. I mean, there's many of them if they were into that comic book approach. There's Power Girl. There's Shiera, the Hawk Lady. There's the Maiden of Meat. There's Batgirl. Well, not Batgirl, because she's about breaking faith. But there's Power Girl. There's Maxima. There is actually positive maidens to look to. There's Aurora. There's Heather Hudson, the Vindicator. There's Jean Grey. There's many others that they could have picked. There's Dr. Leet, the Nesian Maiden. There's the Harbinger, Alaya, and Hippolyta is Ares' daughter. They didn't fight against Ares. And to serve men is the agenda of the Wonder Woman by putting a pretty good-looking lady in the outfit. Not voluptuous as she would actually be, though, a little on the anorexic side. But to serve men, that's the agenda of Wonder Woman. To subjugate fays. Blame the directors and blame the producers and those who are getting behind it. No true feminists or those who are about the fays would even follow this as an example. You're being deceived like sheep towards the slaughter. A psychologist, a reader named Wilhelm Moulton of the house of Marston, another descendant of Ares, even there, to subjugate women, fays, the ladies. Marston's breed, Elizabeth, and their other maiden, Olive Brynan, was an inspiration towards this. A slave to men. And what's wrong with this picture? You think that these Amazons actually look like this? What's wrong with this picture? Because this is a lie. The Amazons weren't snowy skin. yellow mane, bulging muscles. They were actually, these are the true Amazons, by the way, that I'm going to show you now. The Dahomey were the true Amazons. But this is not in the movie. They look like more like those Wakandian T'Challans. And that is the reason that this is the Amazons. Since the Battle of Greece and Troy took place in Asia Minor, which is closer to this land, this is who they're attempting to imitate. These are the Amazons. These battling maidens. Where's the yellow manes and the flowing manes and the super muscular bodies? Now, you've seen people like this. You'll call it like those hood maidens with those bad attitudes. These are the Amazons, the Dahomey. These are the Amazons. So not only is there some racism involved, there's also some absorption involved. Not only subjugating maidens, but turning them into these Zulu-like people, this Dahomey. This is disguised as Wakanda. That's the reason in this movie he has his making that X sign. X means unknown, by the way. And see, and you thought that she was copying Kal-El, but in truth, she was copying T'Challa of Wakanda. So get these maidens battling against Nubians and stuff. So they'll be so busy doing that, so they don't want to see who's actually attacking them. Kali. Each charge of Dactyl Juna Sheriff, who makes opposition. Disguised as a feminist movement. The labors of Aries, Beckwith, Cosbell, to Saturn. Not to sound racist, but as you know, a lot of Nubian kind were turned to slaves. And that's the reason that they pet this movie with the Wakanda, the Ebon Panthi, with the Wonder Woman to enslave them. And they didn't tell nobody about this. So apparently, and very interesting too that the Amazons originally follow Ares. Another name of Ares is Mars. And the one who generated the character Wonder Woman name had Marston in it. And the T'Challa movie was put out by Marvel. And the director of the Wonder Woman movies is Patty Marston. Maybe accidental, maybe coincident, but all that Mars, what does that have to do with Ares? I'm about to tell you. Because Mars and Ares are the same being. Azoides, pain. And what is Ares is seeing? That big balls and a little dick. Small phallus. See? The big balls and the little phallus. That's the same as Mjolnir. When he's called Thor. Mars is always known for his little phallus because he rather battle than pleasure. And me and you, Fays, are being tricked, or ladies are being tricked to be Ares' chattel, so he could feed off your spirit to end pleasure. That's who's controlling the feminist movements. The true feminists have stopped since 2097 AD. Ever since then, they started inducing witchcraft and Kali and Ishtar Zadakil, Juno and Sheriff. Instead of calling them witches, they call them healers. A healer is a physician, by the way. You don't use blood to cure blood. Elite House 777. Don't be deceived by this demon.